Get ready to have some fun. We're going Get ready to have some fun. We're going to play a game of
Gentlelady for yielding. Gentlelady for yielding.
fucking go. You are listening to The Outlaw Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That mean you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand.
And this is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy. And just a little, that's not bad. 9 minutes after 9, we're rolling.
Yeah, I kind of delayed the process a little bit. Got a surprise visit from my bowels this morning.
Well, there's some honesty. And Leo is behind the controls. So other than your gut, you doing all right?
For the most part, we're doing pretty good.
Doing
You know,
pretty good?
Friday's it's a pretty good Friday today. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah?
I would say so.
All right. And the other fucking guy joining us, and he's been sitting in and contributing, doing a nice job, is Mike. Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What are you wearing today? What do you got?
Just representing my hometown here, the Youngstown State Penguins. YSU.
Youngstown State.
Yes, sir. They're about 15 minutes away from where I was, but closest big school to me.
Really?
That's
yeah.
a big school.
I said closest, like big
You're talking
school.
Youngstown, Ohio,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, closest to me. Not necessarily big, but it's the biggest one closest to me.
You're getting close to the Ohio-Michigan or Ohio-Pennsylvania border.
Yeah.
In Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
Youngstown, years ago, probably 50s, 60s, you know, had a little bit of mob presence, you know, with unions and
Yeah.
things like that. So, yeah, I'm very familiar with Youngstown,
Yeah,
being
so
from Toledo. Okay.
Those are my boys. So
I
had
was
to represent.
expecting, like, Leo, I mean, it's Super Bowl weekend. I was going to message and try to coordinate, but I'm like, maybe they'll do it. But Leo did.
Fuck yeah, I gotta support my Niners, man.
You
Fuck
know,
them
going to the
Seahawks.
Super Bowl. Fuck those Seahawks. And I put on, like, I'm going to wear my Steelers shit today. Like, fuck them.
Out of the loop,
So-
Mike. Out of the loop,
So,
Mike.
yeah, so,
Fucked
like,
it up.
but I mean, the big Bronco fan is wearing Penguins.
Hey, listen, it's first of all, the Broncos thing, that wound is still fresh.
Yeah.
Youngstown,
Is that what it is?
Youngstown State has never been successful enough to hurt me that deep. Not yet.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
true. I think Ohio State coach, the vest,
Jim Tressel.
Jim Trussell.
Yeah,
he
he's
coached.
He's like their school president, and he's
But
actually.
didn't he coach there years before? He coached there before Ohio
yeah,
State.
I think he coached.
I'm pretty sure because that's why they did. After he became the Ohio State coach, then they did a game where they allowed Youngstown to come into town, get the shit beat out of them
just for a free
for
million.
free some money, so that
Yeah.
Ohio State got an easy win.
Yeah, he did. He was
Yeah.
back in the day, and then now he's like the school's like president, pretty much top dog there, and he's actually turned it around. Like he's increased like their enrollment numbers by a pretty steady basis. So still kind of a shady area. It's not much you can do in terms of outside the campus, but he's done a pretty good job with what he's given.
So, all right. What do you guys want to start with today? What do you got? So that's what we'll do is why don't you guys like introduce it in the segment and then throw it to me.
Yes, sir.
I think that'd be a good way to do it.
Yeah, so the first segment we're going to start off Friday's stream with is going to be, I think you'd really enjoy this. It's going to be AI or not. So we're going to have you play we're going to play you a few clips from this gentleman on YouTube that does this. And they're going to put two videos side by side, and then you will decide whether or not, or which one is AI and which one is not.
Which one is and when.
And it does happen fairly quickly. They give you a little bit of time, but you will have to, there'll be a bar at the very bottom where you kind of have like a little
know
timer.
how much time I have.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, so
Let's do it.
let's see. make sure people can see as well.
First video, Amalfi Coast. Which one's real? Which one's AI?
Tell Troy.
We've got a drone view rotating around a church.
I'm going with the right one is real.
Which one's
One on the
AI?
right is real.
If you said the video on the right was AI,
So me and Mike actually saw this video prior to us like pulling it up to you, and we struggled at first.
Next up,
All right, we got number 2.
gallery. We're kind of flying through it here. Which is real? Which is AI? You said right for the art
That's
gallery.
That's
There are ceiling
the other one, you
lights,
couldn't
but
even
they're
see
off.
the other
But then they're
things.
also somehow lighting up the artwork. I don't know how that works.
That one I remember trumping us quite
Next
a
up,
bit.
a nice drone view of Big Sur. Can you spot
Left.
the AI?
On the left.
If you said the left image was generated by AI,
Nice.
you would be correct.
Very
How
good
could
at
you tell?
this.
Look at these textures in the background. It looks like Microsoft Flight Simulator.
By this point,
2000.
me and Mike had missed 3.
Borneo wildlife.
I wouldn't even get
Can
this
you
far into
tell
the video.
Which video is real? Which one's AI?
I'm going
And
the
to be
left
fair,
is
I think this
AI
is one of
and
the easier
right's
ones.
real.
If you said the video on the left was generated by AI,
Wait.
you would be correct.
They just
But
look
the-
too perfect.
The left was
Yeah.
on the AI.
They almost looked
Like too-
like
Yeah.
almost plastic,
Which one's
like
AI?
just
And to
way
be fair,
over
I think
real.
this is one of
Yeah.
the easier
Like the
ones.
way they're
And
moving
You
and
said the
stuff.
video on the left was
Moving, not moving, color.
It looks-
and on the right was just straight
Wildlife.
wildlife. Yeah. I mean,
Head deep.
who's
6 inches in the mud.
prompting the AI? Oh, and make the bird stick its head in the mud.
into the
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know if anybody'd be smart enough to
If
do
you said
that,
the
right?
video
You know what I mean?
on the
Unless
left
they're
was
really trying to
generated by
fool you.
AI,
Yeah.
You would be correct. Take a look at the bird. There seems to be a lot of detail lacking. Looks kind of like
Oh man, that was
it?
nice,
That was
nice
it?
and short, nice and easy.
I
yeah,
did pretty good.
You did very well compared to me and Mike. You did
Well,
very, very
part
well.
of that, you know, what part of that is really from is that I question everything that somebody posts now or a meme that somebody puts up, and just where did it come from? Who posted it first? Is it legit? That kind of a thing. And yeah, I literally question everything. Did this person really say this? You know? And sometimes I'm surprised to find out that they actually did.
Well, at least you know for yourself.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
But that was a nice little segment, just to start it off a little bit lighter. But we are
That's
now
a good way to start a Friday.
Exactly, that's what I thought as well. So we're gonna go ahead and move over to our very first story that we're gonna cover, and that's gonna be the Vance versus Nadler. Or would you? Well, I'll give you the choice since we did combine them on here. Would you prefer to go over
Yeah, let's
the?
go with because I want to talk about that fat fuck. Jerry Nadler he's old. He's like 74 or 76. He's been terrible. It's been way past time for him to go. There are Republicans I feel the same way about, but he's just absolutely been terrible. And then I know what he said. So I'm familiar with the story. So I know what he said, and it's something we should talk about because I'm just over it. I'm just over it. People that are getting away with saying this kind of stuff, and you can't try to bring down the temperature of this particular issue when it comes to immigration, deportation, and continue to say these kinds of things. And
And then for the people that aren't familiar with what he said, we do have a video here that we can play exactly what he
let's do
said.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
we can
play the video. So I don't want people just to hear my opinion of it. I want them to hear exactly what this fucker said.
Get a little more context to it.
Yeah,
exactly.
for
what
sure.
Gentlelady for yielding. I agree that this amendment is absurd. We could easily solve our balanced budget problems by simply repealing the taxes, the tax cuts on millionaires and billionaires enacted over the last 10 years. But what is really the major problem in this country today is the fascism in our streets. The attacks on American citizens by masked hoodlums. If you were attacked by a masked person, you might think you were being kidnapped. You'd be justified in shooting the person. to protect yourself. But we see people being shot for what? For driving a car? We see people, we see
Someone's phone going off.
these, the ICE goons break into people's homes without a warrant. We see them drag out a man, an American citizen, in his underwear without even permitting him, in the snow, without even permitting him to get dressed. This is the major problem we have today, along with the attack on our elections. We saw last week under Kristi Noem's direction, or not Kristi Noem, under Tulsi Gabbard's direction, an assault on the election board in Fulton County, where they would be permitted, if they wanted to copy the election results, but not to take them with them, and do God knows what with them. I fear that this is beginning an attempt by the Trump administration to rig the elections this year, to make the elections unfair by seizing in 15 or 16 Democratic cities the election machinery, and that would further the fascism we see in our streets. I think that is the major problem we facing this country today, the fascism in our streets and the nascent attempt by the Trump administration to rig the election. Because after all, the Trump administration refuses to admit that the 2020 election was fair when 62 judges dismissed 62 lawsuits attacking it. It was completely fair. The Trump administration keeps saying it's not that it was unfair, looking for evidence for it, which they're not going to find, and they're going to try to rig the election. Those are our major problems today, and that's what we ought to be addressing, not this stupid amendment, which, as the gentlelady from California said, is going nowhere and would be a bad thing even if it did. I thank the gentlelady. I yield back to her.
So what I've seen video of roadblocks in Minneapolis. These roadblocks and these checkpoints are not being conducted by ICE. These are not ICE checkpoints. They are protester, agitator roadblocks. I even seen they set up literally under the light in the middle of the road. They even have because it's been cold as fuck out. They even have themselves a little ring, a little fire ring in the middle of that shit. No shit, dude. So
they can stay nice and
I
comfy.
guess. And so all of them, because it's so cold, but I don't think the cold would have anything to do with it. They're all covered with face masks, and they're stopping cars, and they're not cops.
Yeah,
and you can see that by their signs. Now, knowing what they've done, watching them hit cars, attack people, pull people out of trucks. We've seen them pull people out of vehicles over, the past several months, and just crazy shit they've done. Is it okay to shoot those motherfuckers?
I mean, what they're doing that's about as legal as it gets.
Because what he's trying to say is, well, you don't know if they're a real cop. Well, you know what? I guess you don't. I guess somebody can dress up as a fake cop, but they usually get caught too. That does happen. It does happen. And when you look at the percentage of arrests that they've made and the number of Americans that have been detained, which has been under 200, the last number that I saw, and that were released then too, because they were Americans, it's way, way less. It's 0.000 something of 1%. So it's not even close to 1%. I don't know how you do in an operation that's not going to be perfect. I don't know how you do better than that. I just don't know how you do better than that. But to continue to put a target on these guys' backs and label them the Gestapo, Trump's, right wing something or other that they'll call them, calling them hoodlums. They are as much law enforcement as any other law enforcement, as much as any other. They all have different ones, have different specific jobs to do. Your sheriff has a little bit different job to do than your town police. Your state highway patrol have a little bit different job to do than and some of the stuff overlaps. You know, some of this stuff overlaps. And this stuff, what ICE is doing, were the exact same procedures, exact same things that were going on during the Obama administration. Exact same thing. Except nobody told somebody that it was horrible and they should protest it. That's the only difference. Is Republicans, who, by the way, did not like Obama at all.
No, not one.
But their hatred probably didn't rise to the level of Democratic hate for Trump. None of us thought about protesting and attacking
doing any of this.
Obama for, you know, deporting people, because we've heard pretty much everyone. We heard Clinton say it. We heard Obama say it. We heard, you know, even Biden said it back in the day. We've heard them all be on the side of, like, look, this is tough. This is tough. And especially going back to Biden, this is tough. Even if the only thing that happened is that they came here illegally and they've committed no other crimes, Obama clearly said, without any exaggeration on my part whatsoever, he clearly said, they gotta go. They gotta go. Or, you know, maybe there was a certain group that could stay, but there was things that they had to do to be able to stay. And at least as far as becoming a citizen, they were still going to be put in the back of the line. They were just going to be given the ability to, you know, have a green card or whatever, the ability to stay and work here because they've been established. It's been 10, 20 years or whatever it is. And he did that. Trump is doing nothing different. In fact, Trump, I would say, has been more humane than what Obama and Biden did when it comes to detention facilities and cages and stuff.
It's never pretty.
It's never pretty, but those people laid on the ground inside fences here in Arizona. That's what they did. Here in Arizona, where it's fucking hot as fuck, 120 degrees,
Scorpions
okay?
can walk all over you if they wanted, like, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. You know, and I thought Jerry Nadler had retired. I really did. He hasn't, obviously, but he did announce, so I can clear that up, he did announce last year that he's not going to be running for re-election. So this is his last, he's going to finish out his term.
Finally.
Which is this year. Yeah, finally. And, you know, you don't hear any of these guys on either side of the aisle talking about, you know, that most of the country wants term limits. Your rank and file regular person out there, you know, you're not crazy Democrat, you know, not your lunatic Democrats, and pretty much most of the Republican Party want term limits.
I do. I want it.
You know, just like, you know, it's almost like 80% of Democrats want voter ID, and even a higher amount of Republicans, and it averages out amongst everybody to 85%.
Yeah.
It's like they're defending something that is so indefensible. And it's so racist on top of it. Yeah, black people, you're not smart enough to get one of those IDs, you know, like it's just the fact that we keep having this conversation and make fun of it, and that we've been doing this for years now, it just shows how inept our government really is at getting just basic things done that everybody should be able to agree on. If we can't agree on the issues that with the people, you know, that the politicians should agree with the people, where 85 to 90% of the people, regardless of their party, believe. I mean, even a majority of Democrats believe that you shouldn't have men in girl sports. You know, those issues, they just should not be issues. Those are the kinds of things that we should be able to handle and cast aside easily, so we can focus. But we waste time on them, and they become campaign issues and distraction and whatever. Yeah, it's just horrible. But it's it's one thing if Joe Idiot says what Nadler said and calls them names and says they, maybe it'll be justified if they're shot. Okay. Maybe Joe Blow can say that. But no politician should say that, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. There is a line somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And to me, that's that line. They should not be promoting that.
Well, yeah.
Or trying to make it like it would be okay. Because if you're going to be okay with that, then you got to be okay with it happening the other way around.
Yep.
That's just what's going to happen.
You're not the only one that feels that way though. Actually, JD Vance, that's part of the story.
All right, is there a video of him?
He just
Okay.
put out a tweet. I'll read out the tweet to it. But basically just echoing what you said right now. He said Jerry Nadler is one of the highest ranking Democrats in the House of Representatives, and he is openly calling for people to shoot federal law enforcement. This is despicable behavior from an elected official, and I'm sure the left-wing media will cover it extensively.
Yeah. Yeah, of course I shot him. Jerry Nadler said, it might probably be justified. I feared for my life. I wasn't sure that they were ICE. Look, there's different types of warrants. And so the idea that, that there's only one type of warrant is not true. And the Trump administration is using a different type of warrant that allows them to go in to the houses and take them. So it's not, they're just still not, but it's presented in a way that ICE agents are just randomly breaking into people's houses.
Gestapo.
Yeah, and just checking for their papers inside their house. It's just not happening. It's not happening anywhere. And to keep bringing it up like it is, it's stupid. And who's going to call them out? Somebody needs to call them out. I mean, even occasionally, CNN will give us a bone, and ask a question like, Congressman, how can you say that? Put him on the carpet. Like, wouldn't you say it's wrong for anybody to say that on either side?
Yeah.
I mean, why can they just not do the basic work, the basic job? And that's why people are so tired and frustrated, and why we don't listen to mainstream media news. We don't trust it. It's all because of that. I don't know. You did the Nick Shirley video. Did you see the Nick Shirley video?
Mm-hmm.
Where he was going around and they were almost trying to trap him.
Yeah.
And when he was in with the crowd asking
At the protest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, things like that. That's just, here's just a kid. He's still a young person. I call him a kid. He's a young person. He's, I don't know what, 21, 22.
Yeah, early
but
20s.
I just watched him interviewed in Sean Ryan. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, decent leadership, but he's still, the life experience wise, it comes through, that he's a kid. But at least he's inquisitive, asking the right questions, going around, and then, how they treated him. Like, you don't see Republicans or conservatives do that.
They wouldn't even let him get a word out to do anything. They were
and they started to attack him.
Yeah, and saying that he was attacking them.
Yeah, they would link arms, elbows out, and put their elbows like, motherfucker, you try to surround me like that, I promise you I'm hitting you.
Yeah.
I'm hitting you. We'll see how it plays out in court. You call the cops over, maybe I'll get arrested, but we're going.
Yeah.
That's no question in my mind.
Oh yeah.
And I think about those things a little more as I've gotten older.
More to lose.
I used to not think so much about that, years ago, not too often years ago, but still that outlaw is still in there.
Oh yeah.
I will. I said something like that to my dad the other day. Like, I may be 57, but you make me. I will fucking hit you. Like, I am not too old to knock the fuck out of somebody, and I've done it.
Again, he's I guess the numbers are technically stacked against him, but like we said earlier, like the second that somebody touches us in a negative or aggressive way, like I can't not react to that. The fact that he's able to deal with that multiple times and the screaming and the yelling and everything, and
Dude, he ran away.
and running away and having them follow him and stuff, and he's still able to keep composure, keep the camera steady for one, which is actually pretty impressive, and then put the content out there and just basically expose these people how they really are. Like, the party of
Well, they could have
not so much.
Look, they very easily could have said, "I'm here today because this is what I believe is happening, and you know I don't think that's right, so I'm here in this support." And they could have just been normal human beings and explained, why they were there.
They had an opportunity to explain their side. What I mean, a camera and a microphone right in front.
And he would have let him talk.
Yeah, and
he would have let him talk.
And that's the same. That's kind of going. I hate to like segue it in, but that's my main issue with a lot of people. They're like, oh, you know, the Charlie Kirk stuff. Like, we really need to not let this stuff happen. Like, this can't be happening. We need to talk. It's like, you killed the one fucking person that wanted to talk to you in a reasonable manner. I was like, you can't ask for that now after what happened to him.
Yeah. I don't have that patience at all. I don't.
Yeah. You can tell he's much
that's
more
why
high
that's why I said Charlie was better than me. He was much better than me. And so if you think he's a white nationalist supremacist, then God knows what you think of me, because that dude was, you know, dude was the best.
Yeah. And it's like my main issue is like I said earlier, if you watch Nick Shirley's videos, a lot of times if you've never seen him before, that video you might not even figure out what his political stance is. Like, regardless if he's there for it or against it, you have no idea, because they're constantly just yelling at them, screaming, and just doing crazy shit to prevent from, you know, letting him get his word out.
Yep. All right. Who's introducing the next
I got it.
Next topic.
So next we have Trump shutdown mega bill funds hospitals under investigation.
So here's the thing, and I was very disappointed in this. I was disappointed in the president. I don't believe he should have agreed to the Democrats' demands to separate DHS funding out of the bill that was passed, and then, you know, negotiate over the next 2 weeks, because now it's going to be over just one thing. And he is a man who understands leverage and negotiation. So why he would give up his leverage in the negotiation, I don't understand. And the other problem I have with this is there's a bunch of pork in this.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of pork in this.
Yeah, the earmarks and everything.
That look like things, as I mentioned, I believe earlier in the week, or at least alluded to, there are things in here that we tried to get rid of, basically, similar types of things when we went through that Doge process for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it was these kinds of things, these crazy, absurd things that we used to allow year after year. There used to be a famous senator. So famous, I can't remember his name. Somebody else picked up the mantle. But every year he would highlight like the pork in the bill, no matter who did it, you know, congressional pork, and it had this special release. And I interviewed him on the radio show years ago when I did that kind of a thing. But here, you know, one of Trump's big things that he cares about is protecting children from these doctors and hospitals that do these transgender surgeries or mutilations. I'm all for that word, using that word. That's what's being done. That he's for protecting them and protecting them against, you know, some of the puberty blockers and other drugs.
Yeah.
That giving kids, people who aren't 18 yet, making these big decisions, and in some cases, you know, trying to hide it from the parents for a minute, which is insanity. Man, you just know, like, I don't live in a world here in America where you get more control over my kid than I do. But hey, parents have ceded that control They've allowed it. They've given it. So maybe that parents need to stand up and do something about this. But in this bill is actually funding for a couple of hospitals that's well known for doing these.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, oh, well, it's not going to be used for that. And it was Democratic, I believe, senators, right? I'd have to look.
Yeah. So they were requested by Senator Pat Murray and Senator Dick Durbin. Murray from Washington, both Democrats.
Yeah.
Murray from Washington and Durbin from Illinois, I believe.
Yeah. Both of them. You know, that tells you all you need to know when you see their names. But requested that funding in there. And should you not sign a bill because of one thing? Maybe sometimes, yeah. Maybe sometimes, you know. And I kind of felt like the Republicans that voted against this were fighting more for Trump's agenda than even Trump was. And that to me is just disappointing. I know you got to compromise sometimes and do some things, and you know it's ugly making legislation and the whole process and stuff, and you have to give in to things you don't want to give into to get other things that you want. I get that. But there are some things that, you know, just in your life in general, you should have a list. I learned this in therapy. This is a true story. That in a relationship, you should have a list of 4 or 5 things, and it may not be 5. It's probably going to be 4, but it could be 5. But these things that are non-negotiable, what's not negotiable for you in a future relationship? And a good example would be, why would you waste time in a relationship with a woman who initially, openly, and correctly reveals to you how she feels about children and that she doesn't want to have children? And yet you came from a big family maybe, and you want to have 3 or 4 kids. Mm-hmm. Well, is that a non-negotiable for you? There, you know, you should have those, like a small little checklist of things. You're not looking for a perfect person, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you should have a few things on a list that are just not negotiable.
It's healthy.
For you.
I think that's
it's
healthy.
It's very healthy. So what's not negotiable for you? And if that could be one, that's the same thing here. Like for me, to me, that's a thing that's not negotiable. It's not negotiable. You know, be the one standing up for kids. It's so crazy that it's the left calling, you know, everyone else pedophiles when the left is the one that allowed these sex traffickers to make a shit ton of money during the Biden administration. You don't care. You've never cared about child sex trafficking. You've never cared about pedophilia. You only care about anything that can remove Donald Trump. That's the only thing. And you're mad that as many times as Donald Trump's name is listed in the Epstein files, there's no smoking gun. None. You can't find it because there isn't any. You know, it's just that simple. And they don't like that. But tough shit. But they're not against you know, they support kids mutilating their bodies. They don't care about the long-term well-being of kids. It's all these little fringe issues, and that they hang their hat on. Well, if that's the hill they want to die on, we need to start letting these fuckers die on that hill.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll get to you if we get to you.
Yeah, so that's what Trump needs to do is like, look, I'll let some things in, you know, that I don't like, but this one here is, for me, is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. And like I said, I think right now that there are a number of conservatives that are not happy with that bill and voted for it not to proceed, not because they want another shutdown or anything, but because they're actually honestly fighting for what they believe in. They're actually fighting for the values that Trump told us and the policies that Trump told us that we voted on. They're the ones sticking up for it, and he's not. Like, that can't be a thing, you know. And you don't hear many conservatives saying what I'm saying, because they don't.
afraid.
Well, the thing is, when your guy is getting attacked so much, how much more do you want to throw on it? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So some of them just don't say anything
Pick your
because
battles sometimes.
you got to pick your battles. But this is one that if you're a conservative, you should stand up and call the president out on it, which is what I'm doing that nobody will hear and won't matter at all.
You don't know that. You never know. All it takes is just one person.
We'll see. Maybe one time, maybe. You know, if people share, you know, you could do that. You could share a clip of the show. You could hit the subscribe button, whatever.
But especially how it's like unnecessary spending, like campaigning, and even like the beginning of his term, it was such a big emphasis. We want to cut unnecessary spending. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. Like you said, this honestly, it works. I think it's one of those things where he just gave in because maybe it just wasn't worth his time, or I don't know what the exact reason is, but I'm with you. I think he just kind of gave in, threw him that bone. But I also think it's kind of nuts. We're in a parallel universe in which we feel like we need to protect kids from their own parents and adults like that. Like it used to be the other way around. Like your parents, your family, like that's who protected you. Now it's like you grow up and they're just like, yeah, go ahead, cut your dick off, wear a dress, do this and do that. And now we have situations where Fox Varian, she's like, I was mentally ill. I didn't get the help I needed. They coerced me to do all this shit to my body. Now that I'm older and I understand, I didn't want any of that to happen. And I, like we said, it's going to be a lot
because
more
because I think maybe you brought it up as being a fad or more trendy. You know, and it's that. And if you can't see that, then there's something wrong with you.
It used to be fucking bell bottoms. Now it's like having different private parts now. Like, what the fuck? Where'd that happen?
I can just be whatever I want to be.
Yeah.
And we've just like the weakest generation just ever. We've so fucked up these kids. We fucked them up during COVID. Now we're fucking up others. It's the whole thing is a dang mess. And we're just going to have a lost generation if we don't somehow figure out how to step in and, you know, help them find, you know, whatever their right path is.
Yeah, I have
and
faith.
be supportive.
I have faith that one day, like when they're older enough to truly like understand like the consequences and just the weight of all these actions and decisions, they'll realize like that wasn't the right move. Maybe not all of them, but I feel like a decent majority of them will realize like I shouldn't have been doing this. Like this was the wrong choice the whole time, and my parents were just egging me on, feeding me into it, and they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, you're too far into like whether or not they feel like indifferent about what the choices they've made. I think the repercussions of something that big kind of drag on into their further. Like, I think going back to Troy's thing, where there is going to be a generation where we kind of just nobodies basically, because there's going to be a bunch of people.
They're going to be an inconsequential generation.
So although they might change the way they see things or feel about certain things, it's still going to be too late, especially with the way society kind of moves along. I agree with you. I think there's going to be a generation of people just kind of
and we already see the generation behind them that seems to have, you know, more of be more spiritual. I'll put it. I prefer to say spiritual than religious, but spiritual for sure. Yeah. And wanting that on their own, because it's not like, you know, their parents have likely left the church. They're finding that on their own, because that there is that yearning, you know, that comes from there's that thing that the only thing that can fill that particular hole, and people are looking to be a part of something. The only thing that actually satisfies is God, is Jesus Christ. And I had a thing that would have been good to put in here. There was, I don't think I sent it to you. There was a video of an interview. It had to do with the athletes and how many athletes right now, after a game, there was a story on it that after the game, professional, the NFL, that anywhere from 10 to 30 players from both teams that immediately after they shake hands and stuff usually gather in the center of the field and have a joint prayer between the two teams And then I believe it was the game where Stroud and the Texans beat the Steelers in the playoffs. I believe it was that game. I could be wrong, but it was one of the later games that, you know, he thanked Jesus Christ and, you know, went through just a very short little thing that he said. And when it was live, it was said, okay? Mm-hmm. Later on, when that news media repeated it, they cut out that one sentence about God. Completely cut it out, dude. Yep. They're just so anti anything. It's like you're not allowed, you know, at least for me, being a Christian, if you're not, that's your choice, man. I'm not going to argue with you. If you want to talk about it, if you want to know what I think and why I've done what I want, I'll share that with you. But I'm not going to impose what I believe on someone else. But they just don't want people to see that. And the best that they can do now is hide that because it's out there. And especially in the college ranks too. Mm-hmm. You know, a couple of years ago, I didn't see all the teams. Maybe I'm wrong and missed it, but we go to a shit ton more games than most people, and we see things that they don't always show on TV. But one of the things that I saw was when Deion Sanders, and I'm sure he did it in Jackson too, but when he went to Colorado, that pretty much 90% of the team, when they got onto the field, headed to the end zone, and they got there in different groups, but individually kneeled down and said a prayer. And I can say this year, I saw that happen in almost every game. It wasn't just Colorado that I just saw that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just.
Well, you almost like force people to take that route because, like, regardless of what they believe, if you're shoving one specific thing in someone's face.
Oh, did I send it to you, or you just found it?
Oh,
good job, man. That is work. Yeah, show this. This is so blatant, man. Why do this? It's insane.
And a record-setting performance for you. What does this moment mean?
This is the edited version.
I mean, it's been amazing.
You got to have the other one
in this
first.
city for as short as I've been. But first and foremost, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been amazing.
In your first NFL season and a record-setting performance for you, what does this moment mean?
I mean, it's been amazing being in this city for as short as I've been. But
plainly see the cut.
First and foremost, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been amazing.
That's 5 seconds, man.
Yeah.
That's 5 seconds. Is it that terrible for, you know, kids to see that? I mean, we see the negatives. They always want to highlight the negatives of athletes, and this one did this one, and this one beat his girlfriend or whatever. Yep. But here you have, you know, a positive role model, and you don't want to show it. You don't want to show it.
He's actually one of my personal favorite players in the league. I'm not even like religious like that, but it's the fact that he's always willing to give praise to God, regardless of if it's being edited out or not. You think we're the only ones that have seen it? He probably knows that. So I love seeing him like kind of take a stand against the norm of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next story. Who's got the next story?
Leo, you got this, my friend. You're Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
We got the Supreme Court allowing California to remap.
Well, look, we knew this was going to happen. They said this was going to happen. They had to go through a little bit longer of a procedure. They had to go through a vote because they did have a rule that basically they, you know, had this different committee that did it that was supposed to be more bipartisan. And, you know, the thing is, they've already gerrymandered. Both sides have done this since the beginning of time voting, really. And who's ever in power in the state gets to like move the maps around to their most advantageous way. And the Democrats had done that. And so the Republicans finally were like, well, you know what? We should do it too. And they started in Texas. And then California said, well, we're going to try to, you know, offset that. And what's crazy is the one in Texas actually produces more Latino districts. It's just that the Latinos in Texas are just happen to be more conservative. It's so funny. And that just totally blows them away. But, you know, we were hoping that it was going to happen in a few other places so we could eke out a few more seats. And the one state that we could have got one or maybe two, but I know one for sure, you know, maybe an extra Republican in there was Indiana. And Indiana said, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's, you know what, if you're not going to play by the rules that the other teams set, then you're just an idiot. You know, the rules are whatever the rules are. And the Democrats, we've watched them do it before. We've watched Republicans have the potential to use what they used to refer to as the nuclear option, which was taking the vote, you know, from 2/3 or 60 or whatever it was and making it a 50-50 vote, you know. And we've seen them have that opportunity to do it and back out of it because of history. And then as soon as the Democrats get in power, they're like, we're doing it. We're doing it. And then they got mad because of doing that and because they did that with judges and Supreme Court justices. Well, then a few of the Republican justices got in that at least one, maybe more, would not have been voted in because they wouldn't have, they probably would have, you know, withdrawn their name instead of going to the vote because they weren't going to get enough.
Yeah.
They weren't going to get enough votes.
It's like,
You know, but they changed the rule, and then they were mad when their rule that they changed was used against them. And the same has been going on now. There are things that the Republicans could do that, you know, even in the case of they're going to that the Clintons are going to testify behind closed doors, not in a hearing, behind closed doors. And most people think that's shit on both sides too.
Yeah, how
most
convenient.
Americans want that to be public. Like that's another 85 issue. And that's an issue where the Republicans are on the wrong side of the 80-20 issue because the rank and file people, just like we want the Epstein files, we want this shit. We're tired of it. We don't trust you. We think you say shit that's not true when you come out of those rooms when we don't get to see and hear it with our own voice.
Yep.
We just do. But people are saying, well, if they do this and they follow through with this, the Democrats are going to do that to them. The Democrats have already said they're going to do that to them. The Democrats have already said we're making a list, we're getting the names of anyone, whether they're an ICE agent, DHS, whether they're in a position of power or whatever, and we're going to go after these people and prosecute them, you know, in 3 years when we're back in power. This is what we're going to do. They've already told us they are. So it's a bullshit argument. So if you want him to testify, I don't know what the use of Hillary testifying for, what you're going to get out of that, you know, and I'm not a Hillary fan.
A few more lies.
Well, but just Hillary, Bill is the one named in the files.
But let's be real. Hillary she's involved in. I mean, look at that type of woman.
Yeah, but I don't disagree, but on but a different topic, not this particular issue. She's not mentioned. There's no emails linking her to Jeffrey Epstein. You know, there's
nothing.
No, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually kind of surprising.
That's what I'm saying.
Her only emails are just related to Black Hawk Down and all that stuff.
Yeah, and we did
And
that to
lying
her,
about that.
and that was all bullshit, man. The way we handled that makes you, you know, watching that movie, you know, and you know how much of it is true, but if 80% of it's true, which I think is more
true,
more accurate than not,
yeah.
it's a great movie. No, I'm thinking not Black Hawk Down. I'm thinking of the one, the embassy, the 12 hours, the 24-hour one where the embassy was attacked and we could have sent in help and we didn't. And most of them all got killed. That was a movie too.
Benghazi?
Yeah, but that's not the movie. Yeah, that's not the movie I'm thinking of.
You're
13 Hours.
Oh,
Is it?
yep. 13
Oh,
hours.
it does say that 13 Hours.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
13 hours, the secret soldiers of Benghazi. But yeah, I actually,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. It took me a second to jog my memory on that.
But that
yeah.
we held her on the carpet, like, because
Yes, indeed.
we had people in positions for as long as that went on that we could have caught a team there and helped them out, and we didn't. And that kind of stuff. When we don't let our armed forces do what they're good at, and we hamstring them, God, I hate that, man. I hate that so much.
I don't think it's ever like, I don't ever think it's too much to send something after one American, because yes, it's one American or two or just a small group of them, but it's about the image that it portrays to other countries and then your people as well. So like, I know people have like a weird stance on this, but I'm gonna kind of throw it back a little bit. Do you recall when Donald Trump he helped ASAP Rocky get out of jail in France? People fucking hated that. They thought it was the biggest waste of time, resources, this and that. No, this was a high level name, worldwide known name, who is an American that's being held for some bullshit, honestly, in France, because they tried to fight him and he defended himself, and they're like, well, fuck you, we're putting you out.
Look, I don't like what Griner stands for politically.
Fuck her.
Okay. But it's the same thing, though. But, because she had, but because she had some little stuff in a vape,
that's her
really, I mean, it was dumb that she did that or put herself in that position. But I don't believe that we should let any American be held by, another country, and especially an enemy. You're talking about a country that's not even an enemy, but they probably should be, because the French fuck us every which way. They're never on our side or in favor of the shit that we do. Fuck and these are bitches that they've never won a war.
No, they suck.
Except one. You know what that war was?
The French
Revolution.
That's what I say all the time. I was like,
that used to be my joke, because I used to think I was French, French Canadian, because I was adopted. So I was told that. I'm like, yeah, we kicked ass. We beat our own ass. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm so that made me so happy. But it was, just in the last 10 years that I found out that I'm half Italian, which explains everything. Way more explainable.
As a side note to that, the one thing I always give the French people, I always give them credit for this. They've never won a war. I make fun of them all the time for that. But when it comes to the French people revolting against their government when there's something they don't like, they are damn good at it. Like they're out there. They're in the streets. They rose the fucking prices of bread and shit was on fire. Like, no joke. And like, obviously that's an oversimplified version of it, but like that was like the main headline of what people, it's like, you're raising our baguettes. Like, how are you going to fucking raise the price on our baguettes? And then they're like, fuck that. We're taking it all to the ground, because you got to fucking pay for it and build it back up. Yeah. But Hillary, we're going to take it back to Hillary. But there are things that Hillary's done and, should have been prosecuted for. And you can't prosecute Trump if you're not going to prosecute somebody for, taking a hammer to the phones. Okay? If you're coming after me and you want all the evidence, you want all the emails, you want all the hard drives, and if I take, bleach bit to sanitize my computers, if I take a hammer to my phones, I don't know, that's probably a good indication there's something on there I don't want you to see. Yeah. Probably something incriminating. That's right? Only on that device. No cloud services. Who else would do that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you're like in those positions, like your phone is very vital. And we didn't do anything. We had an opportunity to go after Hillary and we blew it. Yeah. And so to do it now and to do it over Epstein, she's old, but she's not Joe Biden. She still has her wits about her. She will fight them, and she'll make you better, if you're a Republican, you better have certain people on the panel for the hearing and certain people not. Yeah. Because she will slice you up otherwise. You know what I mean? She's fucking smart. You at least got to acknowledge that. Yeah. And Trump acknowledges that. Mm-hmm. She's a smart one.
That's probably why she's not on the list, because she went through Bill.
Or she just probably did it the way. I don't know. Did the smart way.
But I don't know. I watched Scott Bessent over the last couple of days, and his testimony to the committee. Dude is the smartest motherfucker out of any room that dude walks in. I don't care what room he's in. He is the smartest dude. And man, he makes them look so stupid because none of them, like literally none of them, have the financial mind that he does.
Oh, yeah.
And he just schools them so badly.
Oh yeah,
It's so
in
wonderful
a
to
room
watch.
room full of accomplishments and egos.
Yeah.
He brings them
What's it
barreling
say?
down.
Oh, all right. All right, we'll do that. See, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Let's do it.
Your mic.
We need your mic.
Sorry. It's just this mic picks up a really weird noise, so I mute it just to make sure there's no background noise. But for the people that didn't hear me, I'm going to cut you guys off because we're going to move on to the next segment because I do believe Troy is going to spend a good time on this because this is, as you like to say, down your wheelhouse.
This is my wheelhouse.
This is your wheelhouse.
This is my thing. This is what I do.
So we're going to go over to a segment called Unpopular Opinions. This will vary on theme depending on the day that we decide to do this. But today is going to be more health-oriented because obviously Troy is very into the peptides and health and stuff like that. So first unpopular opinion, and I think this is going to be a pretty funny one in my opinion. Processed food is essential. An unpopular opinion is that processed foods are a net positive because they provide essential shelf-stable nutrition to millions who can't afford or manage a 100% whole food diet. How does that make you feel, Troy? What's your opinion on that? Agree, disagree?
Yeah, I mostly disagree. I think that, you're not going to have that. Not all processed foods are bad. It's the highly processed, highly palatable ones that are made with, no nutritional value whatsoever. Something might go through a little small process. And like you could say, like, I don't think it's bad to eat some deli meats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least most deli meats. There might
Like
be some
to moderation, almost like
yeah, but still, that's not
like sodium
not,
in deli meats is like real high and stuff like that.
yeah, there's certain ones. I mean, you got to look and you got to sort through that stuff. But in general, that's not the worst thing you could be eating and would be
it's not.
considered processed. But the most people in the field of health and wellness are going to say that, you want to be no worse than 80-20, and you probably want to be 90-10. 90 on the whole foods, 10 on, the other. So where I fall on that, I probably fall on the 90-10, that the problem is that so many people rely on that and their numbers are reversed. It's 90% processed and 10% whole foods. And I just don't buy that whole foods are more expensive because I don't care wherever you shop, a big bag of potatoes goes a long way. And they're still relatively cheap in how many meals you can get out of it and stuff like that. And, that's a good carb, when I was growing up, we were not, we were low middle class. All right. But we still had steak, but we had the kind of steak my mom had to beat the motherfuck out of that steak.
Eye around.
Something, and she would take one of those metal things, and she would that tenderizer, dude, that steak might have started out this big, and it was thinner than a McDonald's hamburger. My dad had the easiest time cooking those steaks on the grill, and he knew how to season it, which I still do the same thing today. I use Worcestershire sauce.
Oh yeah.
I use all seasoned salt and garlic. Nice. That's it. Unless I, do something if I want to marinate it or something, and I use, garlic expressions for that. But other than that, just simple. It's good. Any steakhouse can do that. But you can do real foods. And to say that we need this, or like, look at the results of this. The results are that over half of the population is either overweight or obese. And, you know, one of the biggest contributing factors is the food.
Oh, yeah.
Is
absolutely.
the food, period.
100%.
So I don't know how, like, yeah, that should be an unpopular opinion, because it's a dumb opinion to say that, you know, this is what people need, or, you know, I get when you're trying to feed and save people from a famine or something, but, you know, you're giving them carbs in some foreign country or something so that they stop eating mud pies, literally eating dirt to fill their stomachs.
That's
okay.
how they do it.
Yeah. Okay. Give them some fucking flour. Okay. Give them all, like, I don't want to see people die.
No.
But you're still like, we're not sending them little bags of Doritos, you know, and all of those have gone up in price, and now you only get 6 fucking whole Doritos out of it. You know what I mean?
God. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where, you know, even if when the prices were staying the same, they started fucking y'all by how much was inside. The people don't even realize, well, yeah, the bag's the same.
Yep.
You know, the air's a little tighter, so you can't feel how little is in there, right? That kind of bullshit. But
that's why I stopped buying that shit.
No, that's just, it's nobody said you should have a 100% whole food diet. If you're able to do that, great. If you can't, like last night, Dawn and I had I talk about them all the time, those Kevins, where, you know, you get a sauce and you get either chicken or a beef in there. It's easy to heat up, put the sauce on it, and then we use cauliflower rice that we heat up and put it on there. And then sometimes we'll throw some green beans in there too. If you like broccoli, throw some broccoli in there, whatever you want. It's easy, quick, it's healthy, you know, but it is packaged, but it is, you can find some other things out there, and if you want to,
it may not last 6 years.
Yeah,
but there's stuff out there that is frozen, prepackaged, and healthy.
Yeah,
solid opinion. I right behind you with that one, Troy. All right, we'll move on to the next unpopular opinion. This one I think you'll get a kick out of. Peptides aren't natural. Just because they're bioidentical, proponents often argue that they are safe because body recognizes them, but critics point out that synthetic doses are often much higher than what occurs naturally, potentially leading to hormone imbalances. What do we think about that, Troy?
Peptides aren't natural. You know what? It's this easy. Peptides shouldn't even be called drugs. We call them drugs. And the only reason that we can get away with calling them drugs is because there are modifications made to the peptides. Our body makes peptides, but in the synthetic version, they do make adjustments to the peptide to help determine or how long it's going to last in your body, things like that. Okay. So that's where the difference is that makes it, you know, kind of a drug. But again, who's saying this?
It's just a collection of proponents that argue against peptides.
It's a collection of over a bunch of different articles.
Then they should just they should also be saying, you know, they should be against all drugs.
He's like, I want names.
All drugs. No, but yeah, because all these other drugs, you know, we badmouth drugs, we badmouth big pharma. But, you know, there are drugs that are necessary. You know, they just are, that have a use. But most of those, our body doesn't make those. You know, this is something that our body actually makes. Yeah. And I'm not saying in wrong doses or in wrong uses that something, you know, that somebody cannot have some type of side effect. But generally speaking, the side effects are very, very low or almost non-existent. It just depends on which ones you're talking about. And if they do produce a side effect, and we'll use, for example, the Ozempic or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I just was talking to somebody at the gym. His wife, the doctor, put her on Ozempic, and for about a month, she was nauseous. Her dose was too high. And I said, her dose was too high. He goes, but the doctor, that was the starting dose. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Okay, you just following a sheet instead of doing the right thing, and he should have cut the dose in half for a couple weeks and moved her up slowly, or he started her at that dose. When she calls in and says that, he should have cut her back then, you know, in the amount she was taking. It shouldn't have been that fucking hard. But most of the side effects are dose related, you know,
getting too much
you
of
get
it,
to
yeah.
exactly.
It's probably 'cause of money.
Everybody's different, man. So like I have these, they're over the counter, and they're provided by, we get them from Lavelle. Lavelle makes a sleep product. You know, I have sleep issues, and it's called Sleep, and it's these gummies, and I take 2 of them. Dawn took a whole one, and she was the next day.
Coma, pretty much, huh?
Yeah, she did not wake up good the next day, and that's a rare thing with these. This is over the counter. This is not a prescription drug, okay? Now she's doing a half. She's good. And dude, last night I took 2, and I thought I was about to, to go sleep. Like, we need to turn the light out because I don't want to fight this. I want to go sleep. I couldn't get to sleep for, like 2 hours after that.
Yeah.
Because I also got this restless leg thing here, going on that we got to figure something out. Mm-hmm. So that sometimes keeps me from getting into sleep. Yeah. But I'm just pointing out 2 different doses. Yeah, that's the product. And you can even show the ingredients on there. But it works. To me, it's, one of those that works, that's worth the money. And you see, magnesium, obviously being a big melatonin, those are also, ones you're going to see in other products as well. But yeah, I love that product that they have. And we went without it for a while. Valerian root, I used to get that. That kind of just chills you out. I used to take stuff similar to that. I forget what that one was called. When in my 30s, when I would go golfing, so that I would be like chilled out on the golf course and not want to throw my golf club. Yeah. It just got you like.
Cheaper than golf clubs, buy new ones.
Yeah. It was better than alcohol.
Because
it's hard to hit a ball when you're drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People reach that point where they're drinking and they start hitting the ball really good for a couple holes. And the problem is they keep drinking. And so that doesn't last. Yeah. Like finding that like little mark, that's that balance, not a thing. Yeah, you don't want to.
Like it's like anything in life, though.
But anyways, anything in life. But it's different, and you have to be willing to adjust. And the things, doctor put me on a new med for sleep, and I was doing a whole tablet at night, and it was too much for me. It was too much for me. I mean, so I cut it down to a half. Dawn wouldn't even be able to take a quarter of that thing. You know what I mean? It just, people are different. But when it comes to these peptides, they're popular for a reason. They work. They're supposed to be a lot of these for research only, but there's plenty of data out on mice, and there are some human studies too, and then we have, the at least in my case, because of my working with people, that I just don't have my own experience with it. I have the experience of, 500 other ones. I think, don't we talk about one of the other ones in here? I think it's on the next, let me pull up the next.
The BPC and the TB500?
Yeah.
You want to move over to that one, Will?
Yeah, because it kind of, I put it in the same thing. You know what I mean?
Let me read it out for the people.
Yes.
BPC 157 and TB 500 are overhyped. While popular for healing, some doctors argue that evidence in humans is mostly speculative or animal based, and TB 500 may even risk accelerating dormant tumor growth.
They don't have any scientific data that shows that. And what we do have is we have real life world experiences. I've only been, familiar with it for the last 7 years. Some people, a lot of people are just learning about these 2 peptides just now or just in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a client that he had a little bit of a pec tear and even had a knot in his chest. Started popping that right in there. The knot went down like all in the first week, man. It was like crazy how fast it worked, because he's a gym rat, wanted to get back in the gym.
For sure.
And what these 2 do is they cut healing time down in half, and I've had number of clients that have been honest with their doctors and told their doctors that they're taking these peptides, these 2 peptides, and the doctor said, well, it's obviously working. Keep doing it. Because they were, 3 or 4 months ahead of schedule after a surgery and healing. Sometimes some shit takes 6 months, 9 months to heal.
Yeah.
And if you can cut that down in half, sometimes people get moved to different jobs because they did have something that happened to them. So the company has to move them around because they're not physically able to do their normal job, and they can now get back to their normal job. They can now get back to their normal life. And why wouldn't you? These are they're popular for a reason. I wouldn't say they're overhyped. What I do say is they're properly hyped, and the hype is big now. But it's real, because I literally tell people that it's almost like it's too good to be true, because you will very rarely hear negatives about it. And if somebody did not have success with it, either 1, they didn't have legit product, okay, or 2, they weren't doing the proper dosing. But if they have legit product and they do the proper dosing, my experience with it and the experience of millions now, okay, and I've just dealt with a couple thousand of them, is that it's well over 90%, like 95% success rate. The success rate is so fucking high, and nobody's getting any side effects from either one of these.
Well, is it like at the very base understanding, or not base, but what we're moving towards, like medical science wise, isn't that's what we want to be, to cut these
Yes.
healing times and down to have everything basically not instantaneous right now, but
Right.
one day instantaneously healed. I mean, we have to analyze stuff like this. We have to go through stuff like this to find out what works and what doesn't moving forward. And it's like, I think again, it's just like big pharma and like the doctors and everything. It has to do with money.
Yeah.
Whatever is paying them the most money is whatever's going to get pushed out, regardless if it's right or wrong. And like you said, like it's proven. Like you have people that have gone to their doctors that say it's proven. And when you get those individual conversations that there's nothing attached to it on either side, you get honest reactions. And if they're saying it's okay, then it's probably okay.
Yeah, look, I guarantee you that the doctors that have this unpopular opinion that it's overhyped have no experience with it whatsoever.
Probably.
No experience. They just read shit. They're predisposed to thinking certain shit.
They have a colleague they trust or something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But they have zero experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, nobody can deny my own personal experience, and you can't deny the experience of, like I said, hundreds, even thousands of clients. I've had at least probably between 1,000 and 2,000 clients that have used these 2 peptides. I've worked with over 4,000 people, pushing on 5 over the last 15 years now.
Yes.
So, like, that matters.
You
it
would
would
know,
be no
like,
different. Like, I know.
You would know if some shit was going down.
I know. I
yeah,
know
it's
when
like-
something works and what something doesn't
Yeah,
work.
like you're not going to just be like telling these people just with a blind eye, yeah, it works just for money. Like you're not that type of person. You're not trying to kill
Right.
these people if it's going to do it.
Fuck no.
It's like everything works like you said, everything works differently for everyone.
Yeah.
So like
We are not the type of drug dealers that want to kill our clients. Like
Yeah,
I always said I don't understand why are you lacing your stuff with shit that are killing your
keep them coming back.
keeping your people. Well, until they die.
Passive income.
Well, there's no passive income when
they're
they
all
die from the
gone. Yeah,
fentanyl.
exactly.
Okay, why are you killing those fuckers?
Exactly.
Like, don't you want more money? Like,
Yeah.
I never understood that concept. No, I want, to do something that works. And, it goes for the GLPs, I had a client move over to the tirzepatide, which it's more expensive. And she didn't get any results in the first month, and which is actually common. The first month, some people are going to get some results, some people aren't.
It's like a designer prescription almost.
Yeah, and do you keep going forward? It's going to be more expensive because you're, going to be doing a higher dose. Or do you go to one that's, more cost effective, go back to the semaglutide because everybody wants the latest and greatest, which has now been people focus on the retatrutide, all of those things. It's finding a balance. Some things work better for some people than others. And when they first started, there was another one, began with an S, Zaxxon, something, I don't know. There was one that was before Ozempic, and it was a daily. Sexton?
Probably some crazy ass name.
What was a GLP-1 prior to Ozempic?
About to find out.
Yeah.
Liraglutide?
Marked as
Saxenda. See it down there?
Oh, Saxenda.
Saxenda.
Yep, I see it right there.
Okay. Look, I've known people that did Saxenda that Saxenda did not work for them at all. They switched over to the semaglutide. They immediately got results. That's no different. Usually your doctor has 2 or 3 different options, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like let's say your insurance doesn't want to pay for a certain medication. And then your doctor said, well, this one is similar. It doesn't do these 2 things, but for what you have, it will actually work. So we can prescribe this other one for you for your situation. And, it's going to be within your budget and actually work. They're going to have some different options. Same thing. There's no difference. There's no difference when it comes to this.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, to me, it's great that we seem to be having a movement, and the same young people that we talked about earlier that are now, trying or searching or wanting to find out what they believe when it comes to spirituality and God and, what religion they're going to choose or non-denominational or whatever they're going to do. That same generation, those fuckers are in the gym.
Oh yeah.
And we bitch about them, but I thank God that they're in the gym.
Yeah, it's surged.
I want to go to a different gym than
Because
they're
so
mostly in. So that's why I'm, there's fewer of them at Mountainside than there is at EOS. But let them have EOS. Let them come. My daughter, is now 32. She just had a birthday. She's a groundhog baby. She cares more. I mean, she cares more than even I do. Like about what pot or pan you cook something in. They'll only cook in certain types of pans. You know what I mean? Like
I could understand that.
they're and the whole thing about plastics and stuff. I was a latecomer to that stuff.
Yeah.
I just was focused on the food and adding muscle and, using protein, but there's way, way more to it than just a few macros.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And those are some of the other things. So people can have whatever opinion they want, but I'm going to always push back on opinions like this, whether it's here on this program, whether it's on my own social media groups that I'm in. When people do that, I push back hard. I just do, because there's 2 sides. There's so much good information, which I talk about, so much good information. There's so much bad information. And most people don't, at least a majority of people don't have the ability to sift through and figure out what's what and who is it you want to trust. And that, so I share that stuff. I give you the best people to trust. I give you the people that I trust that, I've extracted this information from. And when I make recommendations with Troy, where'd you get, your protocols from and decide how much of this? I've done it through, sometimes there are studies. And so you can use that as a basis. if there are human trials, and then what are some of the best clinics and best doctors that always seem to be at the edge of these things? What are they recommending to their clients? And then I usually try it, right? And then I'm constantly taking more information in. And like right now, I have some clients trying a certain product that I just sent to them. No cost, nothing. Just sent to them. Like, I want, this fits what your goals are with what you're doing now. This could be a nice little added boost, but I'm sending it to you. But the deal is you gotta give me feedback every week and do that. So I get that real life thing. By the time I'm recommending it to you, I've already had personal experience with it, and I've had some clients that have had some personal experience to go with, what you research, because real world, real life matters to me so much.
Yeah.
Real experience matters than just what somebody's reading. So, yeah, they worry about these peptides. No, motherfucker, worry about like the shit people are eating. Okay, worry about the fast food they're shoving down their fucking gut. All right, yeah, worry about that. Don't worry about this peptide, because people that are doing this and this kind of peptide, they're probably active. Another reason they want to heal up, they want to get back to the gym. They're active, they're exercising. They have some kind of a diet plan. They're already doing things that are in their favor for longevity issues, as long as they don't get hit by bus. You can't control the bus.
Say that. Yeah.
But besides the bus, you can have some control over it. You really do. So they're stupid. It's all right.
Final closing argument: you're fucking dumb, all of you.
It's usually how it ends. Most of the time, yeah.
I'm right. It's all that matters is I'm right.
All you Harvard, Yale nerd motherfuckers, go touch some fucking grass.
Well, I don't know. Did I share that my doctor, the last appointment was last week, right? When I was there, my doctor asked about the protocols that I recommend for clients on BPC 157 and TB 500, because he is now recommending it from clients, recommending it to them, and he respects my knowledge on it, and he wanted to know, what the protocols were and how I came to those protocols. And he's also doing the mixing for them, because people don't know how to do math,
What, like the ratio of how?
Yeah, if it's a powder, a lot of times these peptides are a powder, and so you have to reconstitute them. And some, I found over time, like there's a couple, GHKCU, NAD+, that these are ones that I started out diluting them with less water, and I've had to increase the amount of water because it had a little bit of discomfort injecting the shot, and diluting it more, taking more of an amount, but still the same amount of the drug inside there made it less hurtful, but I'm still getting the right amount of the drug. But that was from real world use that I had to, come to that, and like, this is a little bit of that, in sharing that. But yeah, my doctor's a good doctor. He knows what I do. He knows how I consult with people and gives me the respect that I deserve. And asked. I totally respect him for being open to asking that. You know what I mean?
That's how that's how it should be. An exchange of knowledge.
Yeah, and our appointments are like at least a half an hour. When's the last time you had consistently had a half an hour appointment? A couple times a year with your doctor. Didn't happen. These concierge services are the future. Really,
like concierge, like house,
we pay them. I don't know, like
a set dollar amount.
Yeah, like $100 a month, whether you use it or not.
Oh, okay.
And it's for all that basic shit. And what your insurance should be is your insurance should be nothing related to him other than the drugs that might be prescribed.
Yeah.
And your insurance should be to cover hospitalizations, surgery, bad thing. That's if you gave the public those options, so that's one way to bring down the cost of healthcare.
Oh yeah, options.
Yeah, having options.
Absolutely.
And you choosing how you want to receive that. But I think it's a great proactive way, and That's, he's one of the better ones. To me, if a doctor, especially a GP, if they're not interested in nutrition, and most of them aren't because they didn't take nutrition in class in medical school, but if they haven't taught themselves about nutrition, find another doctor, because to me, the better doctor is always going to be one that understands how important it is, how food affects all these other issues that people are dealing with, and is more likely to help you get to the root cause, which is what my doctor wants to do, instead of always treating the problem, but not what's creating the problem. So.
And you heard it here first, guys. Skip your doctor, go straight to Troy.
Did not say that. And we need a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything. These are just for research. I'm a total idiot.
But we do have a comment from Bob. Shout out Bob, always in here. Run 65 to 100 miles a week, and you can eat whatever the fuck you want. I am 80% healthy eating, but I like donuts and ice cream. My latest lab speaks for themselves. Thanks to you, Troy, and helping me dial in everything in my mind. Oh, sorry. In my mind, I'll match my health against any 60-year-old, and that's as a cancer survivor living with HIV and recovering addict.
Yeah, Bob's one of my good friends and one of my really great clients that it took a little while. We were talking for probably over a year before he actually became a client. I know it was a little bit of time there, but, I was interested in working with him because I love working with athletes, and I didn't have any athletes in my, in my database or whatever, in my client list that, did these crazy marathon shit, that I just totally respect. That even though I'm a lifter, man, the things these crazy runners do, it's just insane, man.
65 to 100 miles a week. God damn.
You should watch. You should watch the interview. It's obvious that he hasn't watched the interview. Yeah. Come on, Mike.
He's done that in a day too.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, they have those. Yeah, that's just regular training. That 65 to 100. No, the ultra marathons are like doing 50 miles, 100 miles.
Just really obscure stuff. And if anyone is interested in watching something like that, we do have the interview with Bob on our channel. Feel free to go and check it out. You'll find out a lot of.
Have you ever followed David Goggins at all?
I know who. I don't follow him on social media. I know he's the
because what you just don't want to. You just don't want to be called a pussy.
No, what?
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the idea of carrying the boats.
No, because David Goggins. Like, look, when I was doing 75 hard. And so I had to ride a bike every morning for at least, I chose to, as one of my 2 things that I had to do for exercise, I chose to ride a bike for 45 minutes. And that's what you had to do. Minimum was 45 minutes, but it could have been something else. But I chose biking, and I eventually got to where I was never doing less than an hour, and I was doing as much as an hour and a half. And I got up to some pretty good times too, especially since riding one direction from my home, I kind of had a little wind at my back, and the other direction, having it in your face, and how that makes a difference time-wise, and how I broke it down in my head. But yeah, I would be just like, I'd be listening to one of David Goggins' books. I'm big on audiobooks.
Yeah.
And so I would be listening to that or a podcast. But all I'm thinking about is this dude. I'm listening to his story. His knees all jacked up. He's got a partial fracture. He shit himself. These are true stories, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shit himself on the run or whatever, and just insane shit that he does. And I'm just thinking, when I start to hit that wall or hit that thing where I'm like, do I want to keep going or whatever? It just keeps coming in my mind. Troy, you're a pussy. And it's in David Goggins' voice. And I'm like, I'm not a pussy. I fucking hate that. Do not call me a pussy. I'm going to get this. Like,
I'll show you, David. He makes MMA fighters like collapse. Like they can't keep up with him.
He's insane.
I don't know how he has that motor. It's incredible.
His thing is totally about making himself be uncomfortable and when you can make yourself that uncomfortable on purpose, there's nothing that anyone else can ever do to you to make you uncomfortable that would make you quit or stop or do you know something like that. That's what it is.
That
That's
mental
he
fortitude.
literally feeds on that.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, guys. I think it's time to move on to our next segment. 'Cause I tried letting it go a little bit, and it went a little longer than expected.
Shut the fuck up, Leo. We're talking here.
No. You guys shut the fuck up. We're talking about something else.
Yes, let's go.
So obviously we got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. So we're gonna go ahead and just talk about the Super Bowl, and then we're also gonna get you a few predictions from you, a few basic ones, and then we got a few more fun ones as well. What any thoughts on Super Bowl? Just where it's being held, all that.
Sure. Well,
How much more time do we have?
it's being held in a shithole. Well, actually, I don't know. I've never been to Santa Clara, so I don't know what Santa Clara is like.
It's in California, so.
Well, it's about 45 minutes from San Francisco. So, but you're going to have people coming and staying in San Francisco. A lot of the shit's going to be in San Francisco. I'm not a big fan of that at all, but hey, it is what it is. I think next year is going to be a much better site, going to be SoFi Stadium.
Beautiful
Which
stadium.
will be kind of cool. Yeah. The teams, what do I think of the Super Bowl? Look, the Seahawks earned their way there. As much as I dislike the Seahawks, they earned their way there. They were maybe one of the more consistent teams throughout the year. You know, they did have a couple of stumbles, but not seemingly like other teams did. And the same could be said of the Patriots too. But I think the Seahawks had, I'm positive if we looked it up, that the Seahawks had a tougher schedule.
Oh yeah,
than,
absolutely
than
had a tougher
what
schedule.
the Patriots had. The Patriots had, I think they had one of the easier schedules overall in the NFL, which kind of hid how good they actually were.
Well, they've had
when they got to the playoffs and they're playing teams that they didn't play in the regular season, they were still the same team.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I think they actually do have. It's the fourth worst fourth easiest schedule. I believe since the 70s.
Yeah,
I think
one of the easiest ever.
And then you add like all the injuries they've been able to, people they've been able to avoid because of injuries. Yeah.
So I like the coaches. I just don't like the Seahawks fans. That's my thing. I just don't like the Seahawks fan. Now that I'm my side team is the Cardinals. So
one of my best friends is a Seahawks fan, and he fits that bill perfectly.
Yeah,
you would hate him as a Seahawks fan.
Does he do that stupid noise they do too?
The C.
I don't know that like the squawk like where they walk around.
No, he just yells C.
Okay,
like C. I have to hear it all the fucking time.
Man, you should just smack him.
Trust me, I have.
That's what you do to that. What do I think of the game? Look, I'm not really going to be surprised either way. I haven't even made a for sure decision yet if I'm going to bet on one of the two teams to win. That my Super Bowl bets might solely be player props.
I could understand that.
You know, because I'm that. Because I'm not always I'm good at knowing what my bias is and knowing whether my bias is hindering me in a bet or not and whether I should do that or not. Am I just betting this because it's wishful thinking because I hate the other team, or am I betting this because it's really a reflection of analyzing? And I like to give myself credit that I'm pretty good at doing that and being, both critical and positive of my team. Being the Steelers, I'm just not a homer, complete homer. Like I've learned to give good analysis, because besides having my own show, I met a few people while I was covering the Pittsburgh Steelers that I was able to, for a while, go on other people's shows on Saturday mornings and be a guest, just like you'd see on ESPN now when they have I was one of those guests, that contributed and stuff. And I love doing that. That was a lot of fun. So I learned a lot from doing that. The Seahawks, great defense. But I think the Patriots can certainly match that defense. Where I give the Seahawks a slight edge, and I really don't want to, but I do. Look, Matthew Stafford threw for 400 and some yards.
What in their previous game, their championship, NFC championship game?
Yeah.
I think it was like 380 something.
Okay. Well, then in the last
a lot.
regular season game, in one of them he threw for over 400, and in the other he threw for over 300. Okay. So he had two great games. Like he had, like, I believe he's the first quarterback to ever have the stats that he had and lose a playoff game.
I wouldn't
Like you
doubt
just,
it, yeah.
you know what I mean? So as good as I think Drake May is as a young quarterback, and he came in second in the voting and a very close vote for MVP.
One vote that
crazy.
separated, which is nuts.
Well, it was 5 points, so I don't know how
I
that
mean,
works.
it's vote, and then it's by points on how you rank.
Yeah,
it. Mhm.
yeah. So very, very close. That I don't know that he's gonna, do I think he can put up over 200 yards against the Seahawks? Yeah. But is he gonna put up 300 or 400? And if he doesn't, can they win? Well, other quarterbacks have put up 300, 400 against the Seahawks and they didn't win. So that's where I come down to, like, I don't want to give the Seahawks the edge that I think they have. But in truth, if you look at it that way, they do have the edge.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
we'll segue a little bit into the predictions. What is your score prediction then? It sounds like you're going to take the Seahawks.
No, I'm probably going to do player props.
No,
but if I have to pick a score,
yeah, we're just talking about score.
If I have to choose a winner, as much as I do, like, I do not want to be right about this.
Yeah.
Let me just be upfront about it. I want my score to be totally wrong. But I think it's going to be something like 31-34 Seahawks and 24-27 Patriots.
Okay. So pretty
like
back and forth then for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think people are going to probably, if people are thinking, I haven't really checked, but if people are thinking that because of the defenses, that it's going to be a low scoring game, whenever we think, whenever the large group thinks, well, their defense is going to be a low scoring game, it always seems to be the exact opposite. So, like, everything would tell us that it's probably going to be difficult because of the two defenses for both offenses. But the truth is going to be, it's going to be a higher scoring game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can see that.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to know or not, look, I don't know if they're doing, it's going to be an issue on social media. They're probably doing, I'm pretty sure they are, the Black National Anthem again, which it's not a thing. You're an American. You're not a Black American. You're just a motherfucking American, just like me. You're a mutt, okay? So fuck the Black National Anthem, for one. And then...
well, that is one of the predictions. How long do you think the National Anthem will be?
What do you mean how long it'll be?
Apparently that's like a common thing people bet on is whether or not it's going to be like
Because
certain
some
amount
people,
of minutes.
they sing it differently. So some like drag on certain notes and certain words and stuff longer.
I didn't
than
even know
others.
that was something you could bet on.
I also didn't know. There's a few things
that
here
must be on Kalshi or whatever the other one is.
Polymarket.
Polymarket or something like that. I have
The thing is, we actually got like the mildest ones. There was some
Yes.
shit that we were like, all right, well, this is too in depth.
Well, I can tell you this. I've heard over this past year at a number of different games, quite a number of really good national anthem renditions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From various people. Very, very good. So I love hearing the national anthem. I don't know how long it's going to be. I just think, who's
average
actually doing it?
It's some chick. I can't remember her name, but
No, that was for the Black National Anthem.
oh well.
Could be for both.
I guess
I think it's specified that
right.
there's just two different people.
oh,
Charlie
Puth.
Puth?
Mm-hmm. He's the one that did that. I'll see you again with Wiz Khalifa.
And I see you again. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's him.
Do you have, like, is there something in there you can click on to hear him?
To hear like his voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just thinking, like, what's...
I mean, they might
I wonder if he's ever done it. I'm sure he's probably done it before.
probably only play like 4 seconds of this because we're
All right.
copywritten, but he has a good voice.
Okay. Yeah,
They-
that's all right.
He does have a good.
He has a really good voice. I mean, there was the one song he's referring to was like #1 for.
Dude, it's got billions of views.
Yeah,
on
it
YouTube
was-
for the
yeah.
music. Also,
And
it's
that-
because I hit the what's his name?
I'm going to make some chili.
Oh hell yeah!
So I have some chili for you on
Hell
Monday.
yeah,
Some
It's
leftover
It's
because
really
I
good
make.
chili.
I only know how to make a pot this big for 2 people.
Yeah.
Like serious, like it's stupid.
That's how you know you're Italian. You make a fuck ton regardless of who's there.
It just that's it. I'll make some. I'm gonna make some chili. I am not gonna watch Bad Bunny. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm gonna watch the TPUSA one. I may, out of curiosity, watch that one. But right now, I feel a certain way about TPUSA and things that are going on
Yeah,
there.
for sure. Yeah, might just be a long bathroom break for you.
Or just the sound is off or whatever. But I for sure have no interest in seeing Bad Bunny. If a lot of people like him, yeah, great. That's it. We all have our different tastes. It's just not my taste.
Yeah.
It's just not my taste.
We are running a little bit, so I'm just gonna
yeah.
just
Go ahead.
quick fire these
Yeah, go
ones.
ahead.
You give us your answer. Super Bowl MVP.
Darnold.
Okay. Coin toss. Is it gonna be a heads, tail, and who wins it?
Who gets to call it?
The away team.
Who's the away team?
It would be whoever's the lower seed, so probably the Patriots because the Seahawks were the #1 seed in the NFC.
Well,
Seahawks
Oh,
will call
Seahawks
the,
will call it.
the
Okay.
toss.
Seahawks will call it. It's going to be heads, and
Wait.
they're going to defer.
Wait, go back. You said they were the designated visitor? What the fuck? How? They're the higher seed. Sorry, you just hit enter. Yeah, the visiting team calls heads or tails. Why would they? I mean, that's for another time, but that's odd. The Patriots were the 2 seed. The Seattle Seahawks were the #1 overall seed in their conference. So why would they be calling it if it's a designated away team? It's usually whoever's hired, like how in the national championship, how you're like, why the fuck is
I don't know.
why the fuck is
Maybe
Miami
they
playing
change it
this?
every year, back and forth from AFC to NFC
Typically,
versus.
what? Oh, it just says typically the visiting team's captain calls heads or tails. The result often.
You're right, but you'd have to ask how is it determined that which Super Bowl team is the home team?
Yeah, I'm actually really confused by this.
Is determined by
There
simple.
you go. See, I told you, it goes back and forth.
Probably
It just goes back and forth.
probably to prevent
Because you
some,
don't
like,
want
weird
to,
stuff,
you just don't want the NFC team to
Or just
be
something-
wearing the dark uniforms
Yeah.
all the
3
time.
years in a row.
Even numbers are AFC, odd numbers are NFC.
Wow, I learned something
That's
new
a fun
today.
fact. I didn't know that either.
I had no clue.
I didn't know, but I was my guess at how they came to conclusion was right, or how they figured it out, right?
Thanks, Gemini.
Every field goal, take a drink. Well, I will not be doing that.
Oh no, no! It says, "Will there be a field goal dink?"
Oh,
Like a
doink.
Doink,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I
yes,
just
yes.
said drink. You're like, oh, yeah, see, I don't have my readers on. But that could have been a thing, right?
Oh,
Or-
that is a drinking game. Yeah, missed
there's
field
got to
goals.
be.
Like a
I don't know.
company.
What are the Super Bowl drinking games going to be? That would have been fun.
That we might have to look into those
It's like,
on Sunday.
how much do you fucking hate yourself?
Does a big fat guy score?
6'6" has to be at least
At
300 pounds.
Doesn't the team that does that don't the Seahawks run a play like that for one of their dudes?
They all do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would bet this more on the Patriots side because Vrabel,
Really?
as a linebacker, he actually has like 5 touchdowns on the offensive side of the ball. So he's actually a lot more.
Yeah, but your linebackers are going to be 240,
No,
260.
I'm not saying linebackers, but like the idea of putting defensive players in that offensive scheme.
I'm going no.
Okay, nice.
No fat guy scores. There's
I
no,
also, yeah,
there's no
I don't think so
unless if it's a defensive touchdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ball tipped in the air.
Well, that's-
They grabbed
10
it
yard
and
line,
kinda
they
ran.
run it in.
That's the thing. It's offensive
And it
or
could be-
defensive.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. But do I think that's?
It's not happening this year.
I think it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't think so.
Who scores first touchdown?
Is that player or team?
We can do both.
The Patriots are going to be the first team to score.
So who's the first player on the Patriots scoring? Wide receiver, running, even the QB.
I'm gonna say Hunter.
He's not big on QB sneaks, is he?
He can take off
He
at
can,
the right
but
time. He
Yeah.
can
I'm
take
gonna be
off
honest. I
there.
think it's gonna be Hunter Henry for first touchdown if they score first. It seems like it's just works out that
I'd
way.
probably go with Trevion Henderson, Patriot.
Tight end.
He's a
No,
running
running
back.
back.
Running
Hunter
back.
Henry is a tight end. Henderson's a running back.
Gotcha. All right. So I didn't get an answer for this one, but national anthem's about on average 2 minutes, whether it be slightly low, slightly above, around 2 minutes. So you taking the under or the over?
I'm taking the over because the guy has a soft voice.
So he's gonna drag
just
it out a
gonna
little bit
drag
more.
it out
Okay.
a little bit.
All right.
He's not going to be moving it along.
I'm taking the over on the anthem. Fuck that.
Take
Fuck
the
all
over
that
on
other
it.
bullshit.
The over.
We want the over.
And the very last one we have Gatorade color for the winning coach getting, or what do you call that?
It's just a Gatorade bath.
Celebratory
It's just a Gatorade bath. Like
Yeah.
what color?
Orange.
orange. Okay, solid. We'll make sure to have those in track, and on Monday we will be going over those predictions.
That's good.
But yeah, that's everything we had planned. Unless there's anything else that you'd like to.
No, man, I just want people to have a great weekend. Do what you can. It is especially for those of you that enjoy sports. Sports are a diversion and should be that. And fuck the political stuff, especially when it comes to the sports. Let us have just our little bit of time where we can just enjoy something together, that isn't controversial and shit and argue about, and just have focus on your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, your family, and just have an enjoyable weekend. That's what I really wish for everybody coming up. And if it's still cold out there in a lot of places, feel bad for you people. Sorry. That's why I moved. But stay warm and God bless. Have a great weekend. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces.